Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
This is my boomstick.
Here's Johnny.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Righteous! Righteous! Yeah!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Houston, we have a problem.
The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Those Film Nerds podcast. My name, as always, is Will Spalding. And again, as always, I'm joined by his name, Sam Dierberger. Sam, what's going on?
That is my name, unfortunately. I've had it for as long as I can remember, certainly.
Yep.
So
as long as I can remember too.
You know, the name Samantha was not a thing until like the 1950s. I kind of hate people named Samantha because, you know, of course they wanted it shortened to Sam, and that's just confusing. And I'm like, males have had a monopoly on the name Sam for, I don't know, 3,000 years,
yeah.
However long that biblical tale is. And yeah, so anyway, rant of the day. People need to stop naming people Samantha. It's quite obnoxious.
That's so random. That is unscripted. The writers did not write that. That is from Sam's heart. And he's upset.
It's the only thing I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, true. But hey, Sam, we're back for another week. We're talking about a new movie this week. What do we got?
This week, we're talking about Candyman.
This is where it all began. The story of Candyman. Local character, he walk around handing out candy to the neighborhood kids. One day, a couple of kids get razor blades in their candy. Police come around. That's when I saw the true face of fear. Get on your knees. Hands. They beat them, tortured them, killed them right there on the spot.
Yes, we have a movie we've been excited for quite a long time, Candyman, and we'll get into all of that later. But Sam, before we get into Candyman, first of all, do you have any industry news?
Not off the top of my head.
All right,
Nothing.
That's I didn't have anything either. It was a slow week, but that's okay because as I told you off the show before we just started hitting the record button.
Yep.
I have a new segment for you, which I'm excited about. I thought of this a couple weeks ago, and then it skipped my mind both these past weeks, but I thought of it today.
Okay.
We're gonna play a little game, Sam.
I like games.
It goes like this. I'm gonna give you three directors, although this could be actors, mostly just directors or actors, but we're gonna stick with directors today. Three of them. You get to allow one of them to make three more movies. One of them never gets to make another movie again, and one of them gets their entire filmography erased. And, you got to choose those three.
Oh no. It's the kiss, marry, kill of film directors.
It is. That is what it is based off of. Yes. This was a tough one for me to decide what three directors I wanted to use because I know you well enough to where I think I would know your answers. So I kind of wanted to spring something on you, but I honestly know your director taste too well. I wasn't sure what to do. So I'm going to go with three folk by the names of Paul Thomas Anderson, Martin Scorsese, and the Coen brothers. Now, I think I know your answer. I'm not going to say it out loud. You know what? Actually, I'm going to replace the Coen brothers by Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, okay.
I think that'll at least get rid of the obvious one. So, all right. Quentin Tarantino, Paul Thomas Anderson, Martin Scorsese. One of them gets to make three more movies. One of them never makes a movie again, but you get to keep their filmography. the other filmography gets deleted. What's your answer, Sam? And take me through your reasoning.
Oh no.
This is tough. It's tough.
See, I don't, well, in process of elimination, I don't want Tarantino to make 3 more movies because his heart wouldn't be in it to begin with. Okay. He doesn't even want to make 3 more movies.
Okay.
So I can't make him do that. Scorsese, the man's like 78 years old. I mean, he could make 3 more movies, and he may well make 3 more movies. But
I'm going to tell you, Sam, Killers of the Flower Moon does not count yet. That's not in the filmography. So you don't get to see that if you choose option 2 or 3. This isn't necessarily a ranking either. Let's be clear about that.
Well, and then PTA. I think I need to kill Tarantino.
Okay. All right.
I think I need to do that.
I thought you would say that.
You know, like Pulp, I mean, it's obviously perfect and all that, but it's not like of personal, you know, it's not like my comfort food movie. Like I can live without it, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
Inglourious Bastards, Django Unchained. I don't need those, you know. I don't need Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. With Scorsese, it's like I need Taxi Driver. I need Raging Bull. I need those in my life. I can't let those go. So I gotta kill Tarantino. I will shutter Martin Scorsese into not making more movies, and I want to see what PTA comes up with.
That is I figured you would get rid of Tarantino. I wasn't sure where you would lean with Scorsese. I figured the whole you don't get to see Killers of the Flower Moon now, so I wasn't sure if you would if that would sway you one way or the other. But
he's got nothing left to prove. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
78, you made it in that industry for 50 plus years. What do you have left to prove? I don't get it.
Longevity. I don't think he's proved that yet.
Longevity.
Not sure. Not sure. No, kidding. What would be mine? I think I would have to keep Tarantino. I agree with you. I would not want him to make more movies. I would have to keep Tarantino. Man, and this is where it gets tough. Because Scorsese, maybe it's not that I care about him making more movies, but I think I agree with you. I still want his other ones to exist as well.
Oof.
But I'm gonna go PTA. I'm gonna have PTA make more movies, and I'm gonna get rid of Scorsese.
You're gonna burn that entire filmography.
I hate to say it, man.
You're just
really
gonna
do.
erase it. Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Goodfellas.
The only one I need there is Goodfellas to me. I really don't need Raging Bull. I don't think I like Raging Bull. I think it's a good movie, but
I thought the same thing, and then I watched it a third time, and I was like, "This is it."
I don't need Taxi Driver. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm allowing PTA to make more movies. I am telling Tarantino to stop it, and I am removing Martin Scorsese from my brain. That was good though, Sam. I want to do more of them.
See, but I really feel like if you asked Quentin that question, he would erase himself.
Oh, absolutely. He would. He
would be like, my movies are terrible. Like, why?
His would be Scorsese, PTA, than himself. Yeah, I agree. Sam, I'm gonna challenge you to come up with 3 directors, or it could be an actor too, or actress, You do the next round. You do next week.
Okay. I have all week to think about that because that's tough.
You come up
All
with
right.
3. All right. I'm excited. I'm excited. To hear it.
Excellent.
Good. Well, if we're all done, do we wanna get into Candyman?
Sure, let's get into Candyman.
A couple weeks later, more razor blades and more candy. He was innocent. So he's real. Candyman ain't a he. Candyman's the whole damn hive.
He's the whole hive, Sam.
Whatever that means.
I don't know what that means. I'm glad you agree. I don't know what that means at all. But that's great. He's the whole hive. It sounds cool. It sounds cool in the trailer. I thought they would kind of go into that more, but I don't know what that means, and that's fine.
Yeah.
No, Candyman.
Well, to kind of tee off this discussion,
Yeah.
have you seen the original Candymans?
No, I have not.
I haven't either. So.
I've heard that first one is pretty good apparently, and those second 2 are just horrendous.
Yeah.
But no, I have not seen them. I did think it was cool that they brought back the guy that plays Candyman. I thought, hadn't even seen it, and I thought that was kind of cool. But
yeah.
No, do you have any prior experience? You said you hadn't seen him, I guess. But
I haven't seen it. I don't know. Maybe my opinion is invalid about all of this because I don't know. But then I looked into it after watching this new Candyman. I looked into the original trilogy and like what's behind it, and I'm like, oh, this is not a remake at all. This is like
is it a sequel?
It is a sequel. Like it is canon.
Interesting. Right. Well, I'm gonna watch the third movie next, then the second, and then work my way back to the first. So
okay, that would make sense. Yeah.
It's reversed.
Yeah, but apparently the plot of the original, like the very first one, mirrors like it gets into like the grad student Helen and the baby and the
Oh really?
all that. Yes. So the story they tell with the shadow puppets, that is the plot.
Oh, that's funny.
Film. Yeah. So it is a sequel.
Interesting.
Technically.
All right. Well, let me ask you, what did you think of the shadow puppets? That was kind of a big emphasis in the trailer. I mean, I know I had seen this trailer for so long, just on the internet and in screenings. But what do you think of the shadow puppets? I thought.
Yeah, the shadow puppets were effective. I think. I thought they were nice and creepy and illustrated the story well. My problem is that, of course, like we only have one realistic look at how where these shadow puppets were being created. You know, it's not quite a figment of the screen. It's not quite just a storytelling device. But we only have really that one shot of young, what's his face playing with shadow puppets before he goes down to the laundromat, right?
Right.
So I thought the shadow puppets worked well. How about you?
I think you'll agree with me too, and any movie buff will, is that exposition is sometimes a drag. And the narration kind of, but more storytelling that goes along with those shadow puppets is definitely exposition. And it made it not a drag, actually, which was pleasant. Sometimes exposition can get really bogged down and kind of sloppy. So it was nice to have a visual going with it rather than just a talking head almost. Not at us, but just someone's face on screen speaking to someone else. So yeah, I did like that. But yeah, so that was a plus. But speaking of the movie in general, Sam, what were your general thoughts? I guess I kind of jumped the gun. You just mentioned shadow puppets, so I thought I'd mention that as well.
Yeah.
So general thoughts, spoiler free.
General thoughts, spoiler free. Candyman is messy, and it wants to be a couple of things. It wants to be a scary horror movie. It wants to be Get Out. it wants to be both of these things really, really bad, and it didn't quite deliver on either of those fronts. Both of them were a little underbaked, and so that kind of drags down the movie. But also, I thought it had some phenomenal dialogue at certain points. I thought a lot of the in-betweens between our two main characters and her brother.
Yeah, I think it was her brother.
Her brother and his boyfriend. All of that was excellent. I really enjoyed those scenes when they were all together.
Just chatting. Yeah.
So Anthony and Brianna, Troy, and his boyfriend, whoever that is. All really good. Yeah, his name is Kyle Kaminsky. Huh. All right. He played Grady, the boyfriend. I really liked those scenes. And I thought the movie looked good. I thought a lot of the special effects were well done. I loved that opening credit sequence. Kind of a vertical look at these high-rise skyscrapers in Chicago, and it looks like they go straight into the sky, baseless. Really, really good looking. But plot-wise, this is a little jumbled. It's perhaps awkwardly paced at points. I was shocked to find that the runtime is only 91 minutes. I felt like it was at least 2 hours. But no, this is a very short movie. I was kind of shocked by that.
Yeah. I thought it felt very short. You said I thought it felt like 2 hours. When it finished, I thought, that's it, really? Like, that felt super short. Yeah, we had some similar takeaways. I loved visuals, man. I mean, anytime Candyman was in a mirror, the way they used mirrors was super effective.
Yeah.
And how he could kind of be in the mirror and on the mirror at the same time, if that makes sense. Every once in a while we'd see a bee. Not, again, I guess they kind of explained the bee. Not really sure what they were doing, but sometimes they'd be in the mirror and other times they'd be on top of it without a reflection. So the visuals were awesome. Loved that. I thought Yahya Abdul-Mateen, this guy's just a performer, man. I mean,
yeah,
we've seen him in a couple different things now, and he's just great in everything, and could legitimately be a star one day. And I hope he is, because he's awesome. He's great in this, and so he was fantastic. All of the performances and were great, and probably, like you said, largely due to some great script writing in terms of dialogue, at least. Maybe narrative, which is funny because we often talk narratively. Sometimes movies are strong and then their dialogue is clunky, but I would agree that this was almost the opposite from what we normally see, which was actually a nice change of pace. It was fun to hear the characters speak. I would agree with you in terms of it's not sure what it wanted to be tonally. Which is a massive mistake. I think when you set out to make a movie, that's got to be one of the first questions asked is what are we shooting for here?
Right.
And I think it can shoot for more than one thing. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Like you said, Get Out does that perfectly. It completely balances its horror thriller elements with its social commentary, and this just does a horrible job. I mean. I was maybe midway through the movie and I thought, wait a minute, is this a social commentary movie too? I had no idea. And I kind of felt like an idiot when I was thinking that, because I was like, of course it is. It's Jordan Peele, but it just was not coming across well. I didn't know what they were going for in terms of that. I thought all of the art stuff was interesting, but also felt kind of out of place too. I didn't really know what it provided.
Yeah. Well, when you're using, whatever you want to call it, maybe a plot device, maybe maybe a plot point, just a vehicle in the
I
plot.
think a vehicle's
When you're
important.
using something like art, art galleries, that sort of thing, as one of your kind of minor vehicles in the plot, that tends to be distracting because it's like that is such a huge concept. You can make an entire horror movie about an art gallery, and
Yeah.
when that's just a little plot point in your kind of film, it's like that's gonna drag it down, and it kind of did. I mean, I agree with you. The art idea was interesting.
I just didn't know what it was doing, what it was going for.
Yeah. There was, the entire art thing was constructed for social commentary purposes, but then it's also used for horror purposes, like, which we won't get into yet with the spoilers and everything. But, but this leads to a larger point about the film that I have, that really there's just too much going on. We have themes of racial justice. We have themes about suicide and the futility of life. We get a lot of horror movie cliches kind of wrapped up in here. We're not really sure what or who Candyman is, or really what he represents. And that's kind of frustrating to me.
Yeah.
Particularly for someone like me, who one of my biggest pet peeves in horror movies is when we have characters who don't really do anything wrong necessarily and just get hunted by some sort of vengeful spirit for no reason. Like the girls in the bathroom, man, they just wanted to play a game. Like, they didn't ask for that.
Yeah.
Like, so
I know what scene you're talking about, and that scene specifically sticks out to me. I agree with you. Probably not the greatest scripting, but the visuals in that scene were just awesome. I loved the way.
They were great.
The camera just sat, and we could watch it from an interesting vantage point. They didn't show us everything, but we could see enough, and that was awesome. I guess let's talk a little bit about who Candyman is, because I thought it was super interesting. I love a mystery. So I liked, following Anthony, right? Yeah, Anthony. I liked following Anthony on his path to figure out who Candyman is, what he's about. I loved that because I wanted to know. I wanted to know what we're gonna find, and maybe we weren't supposed to, because that was in the 1992 version, and we're not going to tell you again because that was already there. But I don't know. I found myself really wanting to know who Candyman was, so I got really attached to Anthony's adventure to find who he was. And then it comes to a head where Anthony goes back to the laundromat that we visited earlier in the movie. So I guess kind of spoilers. We'll just get into spoilers. Why not?
We're at that point.
Yeah. He goes to the laundromat to visit his friend, played by Coleman Domingo, who's a great actor. Probably not used properly in this movie and underutilized too. But
yes, yeah.
Go to him, and he kind of just tells us who he is, and we get a little bit more shadow puppet, so that was fine. But it felt underwhelming to me. What did you think about the build up to who Candyman was, plus kind of the reveal that Candyman is just any person who was wronged and killed
He's
wrongfully?
the whole damn hive. Don't you understand?
He's the whole damn hive. I guess killed wrongfully, you become a Candyman, I suppose.
Is it like there's multiple Candymen running around, or
I think so. I think
I am more on the more on the train of like it's an identity that you take on after you have been wrongfully killed. But symbolically, this brings up a new question, which is like, you've been wronged by society. That is the implication of every man that Colton Domingo points out. Every man that has assumed the identity of a Candyman has been wronged by society and in fact martyred by society unjustly. Now the question symbolically about Candyman is, of course, then why does he start killing innocent people?
Yeah, why does he kill people that say his name?
What? Yeah, like where does that come in? First of all,
Yeah, and he's trying to kill Anthony, who is trying, and Anthony's trying to get his story out there, like actually help him out. That's the whole time I'm like, why is Candyman trying to kill him? It makes no sense logistically.
One thing you could say, perhaps, is that Candyman just represents the innate human desire to seek vengeance on the society that has wronged you, right? But then again, the entire movie is completely sympathetic towards Candyman in a strange way. Like every person that is killed by Candyman is portrayed in a negative light, but certainly not a negative enough light to be murdered ruthlessly. Like, yeah, you have a stuck-up art critic, you have a stuck-up high school girl. All they did was say his name 5 times, and they're supposed to represent the, the overarching social structure that ultimately led to this person's demise. It's like, well, I don't know what the movie's trying to say then.
Yeah, I found that very odd. I wasn't sure what to make of it. Yeah, it was weird.
But then, like, the next question is, we have this Helen Lyle situation, which, like I mentioned before, she's kind of the main plot of the first film. And what is Helen Lyle supposed to represent? Because she goes on a murder spree, killing people in this neighborhood for no apparent reason. And she's possessed by Candyman or something.
But we've never seen possession before. Like, does Candyman possess people? I don't know. Does he?
Does he possess people
in this movie?
Why is she killing people? And why, better yet, why is Candyman possessing her to kill people within the community that is being marginalized? Like, I don't get that either.
Yeah, it's odd to say that. My one big complaint of this movie is just what it is trying to say via its major plot points. Mm-hmm. So it's odd to say that I liked this movie, even though the plot points just felt very jumbled and very nonsensical.
Yeah,
because I think this movie is well made on like literally almost every other aspect. I don't know if I have many negative things other than to say I didn't know what it was going for in terms of thematically and subjectly, really. Mm. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, and it's tough too, because we don't. Well, really, the part of the movie that really bothered me, was when we get into the later on, after Anthony's released from the hospital, he goes and visits his mother, and he finds out. We kind of get this like typical like chosen one story arch, and that just made me roll my eyes, because it's like, really, he was the baby from the fire.
I thought the baby from the fire was going to be Coleman Domingo. That's what I was guessing. I don't know why.
I thought so too. That would have been better.
Since he was telling the story, I figured he would just like drop a bomb and just say that.
But my other question about this was Anthony, who is the baby saved from the fire. Apparently this happened in front of like hundreds of witnesses.
I guess. Yeah.
It was
a lot of people.
It was at the community's like annual bonfire or whatever. Everyone was watching when this happened. Wouldn't you think that there would have been hints of this during Anthony's upbringing? Like folks around the neighborhood would treat him a little differently.
You know, I suppose they did say that he was raised in the south side of Chicago, and he thought he was raised No, wait. He thought he was raised on the South Side. He thought he was born and raised on the South Side, but it turns out he was just raised and not born. I suppose when he was a baby, he was born in the North Hospital, I think they said. It was either North or Central. So that could have been where he was as a baby, and then they moved after that. That'd be my explanation for that.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think you still would have heard something about it in his upbringing.
Or just his like internal feelings about, I don't know.
Yeah.
The situation. And I guess it kind of works.
I didn't mind that scene, actually. I didn't mind it.
I mean, just like 2 scenes later, that completely goes off the rails. But I think it kind of works, like story-wise, in that there's kind of this idea now of, oh, he lives in this high-rise apartment and he can make a living as an artist, which is like the most impractical, means of living ever. I mean, I'm not ripping on painters, but I'm saying like,
no, you are.
I am ripping on painters. They're useless people. There's no, I mean, he's making a living doing something that most people cannot do. And he's living in this high-rise apartment, and he's become accepted by kind of the white upper class structure. And, and that kind of works. He's the chosen one, but he's infiltrated the higher powers, the powers.
Yeah.
So he's been accepted by the high-rise elite community.
Right.
And he's supposed to be the chosen one to wreak havoc upon them. And that kind of works. That's kind of following that typical structure of like, this person's the chosen one. I think specifically of something like, The Omen, like Damien, like he has the mark of the beast. He was destined to do this. I don't know.
I think that's an interesting thought. I thought of that walking out of the movie too. I kind of thought about it a little bit and put that together, that maybe he was never meant to be killed by the Candyman, but that he was marked as a baby or whatever, and that the Candyman has been trying to find him his whole life.
Yeah.
And he does end up finding him. And every other time that the Candyman is in front of a mirror with someone else, he kills them, except Anthony. Everyone else. I mean, even for someone who didn't say his name, we're at that art gallery, and this girl who is underage, I guess. That was really weird. I didn't know what was going on there.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the movie, it was like the first kill.
Yeah.
She says his name 5 times while they're about to have sex, and then she gets killed. And the guy she was about to have sex with, does not say Candyman's name, and he kills him anyway.
Yeah.
So he kills everyone that sees him except for Anthony. Maybe that's meant to, because Anthony is supposed to be the next Candyman because he was marked, although then that throws out the window of
right.
You have to be wrongfully killed. But then in the end, maybe he is wrongfully killed. Now we're deep in the woods of spoilers, so we might as well head there.
Yeah.
I guess, Sam, what'd you think about the ending? He kind of just dissolves into this very, which again, great visual, great makeup artist, whoever did that. Super creepy skin design with that bee sting that spreads across his whole right side of his body.
Yeah.
And he's essentially brain dead, nearly, I guess. And Coleman Domingo is the bad guy.
But is he a bad guy?
Because
he's just helping Anthony fulfill his destiny.
Yeah.
Or
I
is
think
he
that's
just
fair.
an insane person? I really thought, I mean, it was cool and it was creepy and effective and all that, but like really literally sawing off his arm and strapping on the hook, like where did he get the jacket from? Like, why does he have Candyman's jacket? Did Candyman give it to him to give to Anthony? Like, I'm just so many questions. And then Anthony all of a sudden is floating around like an actual spirit. Like he's literally assumed the identity of Candyman.
Well, he is killed, to be fair. He was killed by the police. Maybe.
Well, yeah, I guess he does kind of only start floating after he's killed by the police.
Yeah. I thought the ending was actually really good. It was one of my favorite parts. The ending, you know, logistically how we got there maybe is a bit bumpy with Coleman Domingo's character. I don't know his intentions. His intentions could have been right, could have been wrong. Yeah. Depending on, I guess, how you look at it. You know, I don't know why he would want to make another Candyman. Maybe he's just a Candyman connoisseur and just wants everyone to know who he is and know what he stands for. If so, that's good, I guess. You know, he stands for injustice or stuff, whatever, you know.
But why was Colton Domingo trying to kill Brianna? That's another question.
The only guess I have for that is Brianna is trying to save Anthony, so she's a witness. You got to take her out, I guess.
But also maybe that's part of the point, which is like Anthony has to be killed by the police in order to fully become Candyman. He has to be unjustly slaughtered. Which, yeah.
So we get that reveal that he called the police. That I'm gonna stop saying Coleman Domingo. I'm gonna figure out his character's name real quick. Bear with me. It is William Burke. Okay,
William Burke.
So yeah, William calls the police to get the police down here. So there we go. I'm with you. The police shoots a man who is lying on the ground, presumably dead.
Yeah.
But make sure he's dead. And then he kind of just, you know, he ascends to his throne of Candyman.
Yeah.
And again, great visuals. Thought it looked awesome. And then it ends. I thought, what? Really? We're done? Okay. All right. I think I could have done 10 more minutes of this. Honestly, I would have liked a little bit more clarification in some parts, and I don't know, a little bit of something in some other parts as well. But yeah, I don't know. What did you think of his ascension to being Candyman? Did you expect it? Or when did you kind of think it was coming?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that, you know, as soon as he started with the bee sting thing and the bee sting starts spreading, you start thinking, oh, yeah, so the Candyman is trying to like kind of take over his body.
Yeah.
But also I expected it to go in a different direction, which was probably a more proper direction, where he actually fights off the temptations and the urges of the Candyman spirit. He fights that off and learns how to turn the other cheek and says, violence only begets violence, and me becoming Candyman isn't going to solve anything. You can't just, you know, kill because you were killed. That's where I thought the movie was going. Kind of a message of unity and peace, but no.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, too bad for you.
And I suppose it is extremely cathartic to watch 3 or 4 police officers just get slaughtered.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of what I made of it. Because, you know, if you think of like his art, you know, art can be used as peaceful protest. He's making these art pieces. Really, it's about Candyman, but really it's about police brutality and raising awareness about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Trying to solve it through civic means. and then Candyman takes him away from his art, drives him insane. So yeah, that's kind of where I thought the movie was going. Instead, the movie ends quite darkly. And I don't know how I feel about it.
I quite enjoyed the ending. I did not think what you did of in terms of he's gonna deny Candyman. And I did not think that's where it was going at all to begin with. I maybe only thought that he was going to become Candyman kind of right near the end. I like the idea of him being Candyman. I think that means we could see another one, or with the way movies are made now, another 3 of these, whatever.
Yeah, right.
I thought it was an interesting direction that our main character does fall. Yeah, I enjoyed the ending. I guess, Sam, I'm really out of thoughts. So the thing I'll ask you, and then I'll say too, is how would you have changed this to make this more enjoyable for you?
More enjoyable for myself.
What would you have done a little differently?
I just thought the movie needed to be kind of scarier. I wasn't.
Were you ever scared?
No, not really. Not really. Not in a true sense, you know. Get Out and Us, and I obviously know, I guess they're kind of apples and oranges because Peele wasn't directing this one, but you know, Get Out and Us both have legitimately terrifying moments. And it's obviously not simple jump scares. It's the overall aesthetic and feeling and the suspense that is being built. And in this movie, I didn't feel like there was enough suspense. It didn't really feel like the clock was ticking. Like there was no sense of urgency, really. It's just kind of a slow decline into Anthony becoming Candyman.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just kind of left a bland taste in my mouth overall. What would you change?
Yeah, I would probably again make it scarier. The only part that I was prepared to be scared, but then was not scared is near the end of the movie where they're in that, or Brianna's in the dark tunnel trying to run away from William Burke. And it's really, really dark and she only has a flashlight. I thought I would be scared there, and then it ended up not being super scary. So yes, I would have added some more frights. In a movie like Candyman, I think you can even do some jump scares effectively. I don't think it just needs to be suspense driven horror. Throw a couple of jump scares in there, and I think this movie gets better.
Yeah.
And this seems like such an obvious do this better, but I would just say really like I said, I didn't even really know this was a social commentary for like the first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I would have leaned into that a little bit more, I guess. I don't know how you do that. Maybe I'm just an idiot, but I would have leaned into it a little bit more. I guess I would have just leaned in to the overall aesthetic of it more, make it scarier.
Yeah.
Lean into its themes a little bit more. But yeah, I would say those two things, and I think this is a pretty solid movie. I still think it's a pretty solid movie, but could be improved. Do you have any additional thoughts, Sam, or anything else you want to say wrap up wise?
Yeah, I mean, certain publications are calling Candyman the most disappointing film of the year so far.
Oh wow. I don't know if I had a ton of expectations to be like one of the greatest movies of the year, so I wouldn't say was super disappointed with my watch.
Yeah, this is from both Vulture, writers for Vulture and Polygon. Polygon described it as cluttered, preachy, and not nearly scary enough, which is brutal. And they also wrote that a lack of a visual metaphor makes the film's exploration of gentrification more of an assemblage of non-specific dialogue. It talks about what gentrification is and not what it looks like, which I think is a fair assertion. But you also, I guess, we can't know for sure that that's exactly what the filmmakers were going for. But I just think it's interesting that a lot of people, particularly professional critics who hold Jordan Peele to such high esteem, are kind of ratting on this a little bit.
Yeah. Do you know if there's a reason why Peele didn't direct this? Or just wanted a producing role and didn't want to direct? I don't know.
I mean, he helped write the script, right?
I knew. He wrote it.
Let me see.
He's listed as the first writer too.
I think. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm trying to read up on the development here, and I think it had to do. Yeah. It might have had something to do with the fact that, Peele didn't really grow up in the projects, where I think that
could be.
That the director, Nia DaCosta did, I believe.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Actually, I did think it was very interesting that Peele was going to not original source material, or that he was going to prior source material, I should say. He seems like one of those guys that's very my stuff or no stuff. So
right, exactly.
Maybe that's exactly why he didn't want to direct. Yeah, you could be right.
Yeah. So he grew up. Peele grew up on Manhattan's Upper West Side, which I suppose is a nicer area, and then Nia DaCosta grew up in Harlem, which is, obviously a cultural epicenter, but probably more of like that feeling of the projects, right?
Yeah.
A historically marginalized area. So that might have something to do with it. I'm kind of speculating. I haven't read anything confirming that, but that's interesting. That is an interesting question.
Sure. In terms of Nia DaCosta, I have not seen her other movie, Little Woods. Maybe I'll have to check that out. But I think maybe a lot of I think a lot of what's good about this movie comes from her, and I think also a lot of what's bad about this movie comes from her too. I think she's probably a great visual storyteller. That's probably one of her biggest strengths. Like I said, I praise the visuals. I think you agree on that, and love how I liked how the movie was framed and shot, and overall look. But I think she might need to work on her voice, her tone a little bit.
Yeah.
I think this could be solid. Maybe if this wasn't her first big kind of blockbustery large budget, that might have been part of the reason too. But I guess I'd be interested to see where she goes. So
yeah, I mean,
if anything else, maybe just put her as a first assistant director, and she handles all visuals. I mean, I'd be cool with that.
Right. No, she did a fine job. I mean, that's a lot to handle. There were high expectations for this movie, even though this movie doesn't have a particularly huge budget. There were high expectations for this movie, both commercially and critically. So I sympathize with her. Like that's a big role to step into, because it kind of had Peele's kind of signature themes attached to it, but it wasn't Jordan Peele. You're essentially stepping into Jordan Peele's shoes.
Yeah.
And, and that's a lot to ask for.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's kind of all I have on
that's all I got too, man. Should we get into a star rating?
Yeah, let's get into it.
You go for it, dude.
I go for it. 2.5 stars out of 5. I think it was it's a mess. Like I said, the movie's a mess. It has a lot of good things. It just has too many things going on at once. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I debated a long time between 2.5 and 3. aesthetically, I really do like this movie a lot.
Mhm.
Substance wise, I think it has a lot to be desired for. I think I enjoyed the ending a little bit more than you did, so I'll end up going with a 3. And I think some horror. I see one horror movie. I'm kind of out on the franchise. Like I kind of saw what it was doing, and I'm done.
Yeah.
I think I would see another one of these. Yeah, I think I would. I think I would see another one of these. So I think that's another telling sign that I enjoyed it enough to where I'd go back to this universe.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, cool,
All
man.
right.
That's
Fair
Candyman. That's Candyman for us.
Yeah.
Sam, should we get into some recommendations for this week?
Sure. Let's get into some recommendations, huh?
Cool. I'll start us off if
Go
that's
ahead.
all right with you. Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I feel like you might have recommended a specific episode of this TV show I'm going to recommend, but maybe you haven't. I don't actually remember. We've done too many of these. I was thinking earlier, maybe last week, sometime late last week, and thought, what I watched a little bit of as a kid and want to go through the whole thing is the Twilight Zone.
Of course.
Yeah. Have you recommended an episode?
I'm sure I have.
Okay.
Yeah, it really is the greatest television show ever made.
Oh man, dude, it's fantastic. I mean, I remember a few specific episodes as a kid and thinking like I'm way too dumb to understand this.
Right.
But I like what I'm seeing. This is when I'm 8 years old and I don't really know. I don't know things, but now I just started at episode 1. I'm only maybe 6 or 7 in, and
Yeah.
gosh, it's so good, dude. I'm a sucker for non-serialistic TV. I'm a sucker for what's the word?
Apology.
Yeah, anthology. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. I think it's easier to watch than sitting down to watch 6 seasons of the same story.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I'm gonna recommend Twilight Zone. If you don't want to sit down and it still is like it's like 150 episodes or something. If you don't have time for that, just I'll recommend a specific episode. The monsters are coming to Maple Street. That's a great one. So.
The monsters are due on Maple Street. It's funny. I just rewatched that last week with a friend of mine who needed to see it. So we were sitting there
For a class or what? Or just
for fun. I should really put together a list of my favorite episodes ever because
I'd love to
some
see that.
phenomenal ones.
Yeah.
And the other great thing about it is it's 5 seasons and 4 of the seasons are half an hour time slots, so 20-minute episodes.
Oh yeah, they're 22 minutes. It's so nice.
So you can just knock them out. And then 4th season, it moved to a different time slot, so it was an hour. So the episodes are like 40, 45 minutes. And that can kind of make a difference when you're developing an anthology story.
Yeah.
That's pretty fascinating. But yeah, I love the Twilight Zone. Excellent recommendation. But
yeah,
I'm a little biased.
I was excited to. I knew you liked it. I thought you had recommended it, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it too. Great show. I'm sure when I finish it, I've seen maybe. You said there's 5 seasons.
Yeah.
I'd probably seen a handful of episodes that accumulated to about a season and a half when I was a kid, and I thought, you know what, let's do it. So
yeah. Excellent television, and it's now streaming on Hulu, I believe.
Hulu, yeah, that's where I'm watching.
So that's cool. For a while, CBS had taken the rights and put it exclusively on CBS All Access. But
the worst.
Only the people living under a rock.
Yeah, no.
CBS All Access.
Well, you gotta watch my Blue Bloods, okay?
I gotta watch my Blue Bloods.
Yeah.
Anyone who's watching Blue Bloods, everyone knows they go to Walmart and buy the DVD season. Like,
I only watch them on VHS. So
Blue Bloods is not a bad show. I'm not anti Blue Bloods. Okay, so I guess I should recommend something. I finished a book 2 weeks ago called Man's Search for Meaning by a psychologist named Viktor Frankl, who was a survivor of the Auschwitz concentration camp. It's short, it's to the point, and it's highly philosophical and pretty enlightening. Man's Search for Meaning. It's probably 150 pages, less than that, probably 130. And I read it in a couple days, and I thought it was really good, really impactful. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about that.
Good, man. What was it called?
Man's Search for Meaning.
Search for Meaning. Okay, cool, awesome. Well, hey, Sam, it was a pleasure. Where can I find you on Letterboxd? Until next week.
If you're looking, you can find me at letterboxd.com.
I never am.
/sjdierberger. And where can I find you, Will Spalding?
You can find me on Letterboxd at Will Spalding. Where Sam, I recently sat down and I'm not sure if Letterboxd had one or what, but I made a list of every film in the National Film Registry. So Sam, go check that out and see how many you have. There's 800.
How much free time do you have, dude?
This took me about 2 months, to be fair.
Okay.
I started this a long time ago, and I just did little by little. But yeah, so you can find me there at Will Spalding.
He is a Letterboxd patriot. Oh my lord. Just doing.
Hey, but we're both professionals. We're both pros.
We are. But most of this we do out of the kindness of our hearts.
Right. And you can find us at anchor.fm/thosefilmnerds and thosefilmnerds.weebly.com and pretty much anywhere our podcasts are found at Those Film Nerds and all that good stuff at Gmails and YouTubes and whatnot. And Sam, until next time.
Keep watching movies, everyone. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Ever thought about making a podcast? Well, Anchor is the easiest and simplest way to do so. Let me explain. For starters, it's free. There's also creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone, laptop, or computer. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on multiple platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, and much, much more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need in a podcast in one place, so give it a try.